is conventional farming. After attending a workshop on sustainable agriculture, I switched to organic farming. My soil health has improved and I've reduced my use of synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. Now, if we are to look at what the topical issue is, strategies for fostering sustainable agriculture in Nigeria, what would be your 2 cents, on this?
Thank you. First of all, 2 cents can't do it.
Oh,
so it has to be an holistic
okay.
structure plan, that is intentional in putting checks and balances, providing the right infrastructure in order for our farmers to maximize the potentials that is in the agricultural sector.
Right.
So like you said at the beginning, I'll take us back a little bit.
Okay.
Imagine if Nigeria had continued with the same energy they had in the days of Babawolowas, where in Oyo State we got the cocoa house from the proceeds of selling cocoa, and then we have the Granite Pyramid in the north. Just for a second, imagine if we continue at that pace and where we will be today as a nation, as to, we diverted into crude oil and a lot of our youths became so lazy. We've been going through what I call the modern day slavery, because even in the oil sector we don't have the expertise, and then they bring someone that has the expertise and put our people on a lot of issues, so I call the discovery of the crude oil at the time where it was discovered a curse and a blessing at the same time.
Right.
But anyways, we are where we are now. So how do we go back to the basics? How do we go back to where we were from the beginning? Because long before crude oil, agriculture was sustaining us, and it wasn't really doing bad. Imagine if we also have Cashew House or Cashew Medical Center, we have Granite Technical School, or we have Cocoa University, or Share Border Health Center. These things are possible because year in, year out, these commodities are being exported raw out of Nigeria. And what that means is we're just throwing away wealth to the international nations, or to the abroad, like you say. So now, how do we now put in place what we need to have sustainable agricultural sector in Nigeria? The first thing that we need to do is our orientation. When I walk into anywhere, they say, you don't look like a farmer.
That's right, because I was going to say that.
Yeah, so how should a farmer look? How does a doctor look? You don't want to see a surgeon when they are coming straight out of the theater.
The theater, right?
They're filled with all sorts, right? But because they clean up and you see them as a doctor. So we need to start changing this orientation, that a farmer is a poor, uneducated human being looking unattractive. That is where that's like the bottom, the minimum where we need to start from. When we take away this orientation and we then understand the wealth and the sustainable and enormous wealth that is in the agricultural sector, then we'll start paying attention as individuals. Now, the government knows the wealth that is in agri. We don't need to teach them that, but for the people, we need to start from there. We need to also understand that our existence and sustenance as a human on earth is solely dependent on agriculture. If agriculture is taken out of this world, we are all dead. All of us. And I'm not talking in terms of just food alone. For every medication you take today, it is from agriculture. The clothing you have on is from agriculture. Your writing materials is from agriculture. So when we realize that, then you see that agriculture is everyone's first profession. What am I trying to say? I don't buy basic staple vegetables. I cultivate them. To a large extent, you can be a part of the value chain. And agric is not just people going to farm to farm. We even have those that are into production of venom and export of it. What this means is they breed snake, they breed scorpions, they extract the venom, and that is also agriculture.
That happens within the sphere of agriculture in this country.
Yes, we have them as members.
Do you do that as well?
Yes, we have them as members.
Right.
We have those that theirs is to package. There's that woman that is selling ugu in the market.
Yeah.
She is in the agricultural value chain.
Right.
That man that drives your vegetable from the farm
to
the market is in the agricultural value chain. So you see, that's why I say to people that agriculture is not about hoes and cutlasses. That orientation that we all have, first of all, needs to change. And when this orientation changes and we start seeing the opportunities that is in the agriculture, in the agricultural sector, then you stop. I mean, when you see me and my women, there was a time where we walked into a certain place, like 6, 7 of us, and we sat down. The men there came and was asking, is everything okay? Are we safe? That is the power
serious?
and the wealth that we command. You know, we cannot go unnoticed. But when I change, or if I post a picture of me on the farm, you will have to have a closer look.
Yeah.
Maybe even once or twice to be like, oh yeah, that's Omolara, right? You know, that is how it is. And for even those that are in the processing and packaging, they go to the office the way I am every day because they are processing, they're packaging, you know. So all of this is where we need to work on ourselves as a people. Now, on the side of the government, which is the most important part of it, the government needs to put in place a sustainable and conducive infrastructure in all the 775 local government area that we have. It is not rocket science. It can be done.
By that, are you meaning mechanized farming or?
Okay, so when you say, when we say mechanized farming,
please.
it's like, I don't know, it's like when you say an educated person. It's in stages. So you have school cert, you're educated. You have from your 6, you're educated. You have a master's degree, you're educated. In short, if you bring it down, it depends on where you have your BSc from. But BSc is BSc. You have BSc in some places, and then you have BSc in another country, you know. So when we say mechanized farming, it's in stages. You know, before we can get, nobody in Nigeria is doing fully mechanized farming because the government has not provided a conducive environment for this. So yes, we can start with what I call semi-mechanized farming by using tillers, using semi-planters, semi-harvesters, you know, making sure that our farmers, no matter how little your farm is, you're no longer using your bare hands or your hoes and your cutlasses to till the ground. That's why I said earlier, power tillers. We have them in different categories. We have semi-planters in different categories. We have semi-harvesters in different categories. We have the sprayers. You know, most of these planters also have fertilizer applicators, so you don't have to inhale all of these chemicals and what have you. So if you have a one acre of land and you're using all these instruments I've mentioned, you are into mechanized farming. So mechanized farming is not until when you see all the big equipment, tractors and what have you. No, mechanized farming is the moment you're using technology, equipments, instead of you having to do it manually, to not, first of all, maximize your production. At the end of the day, you are into mechanized farming. Now, the thing that the government needs to do now is to pay attention to all of these needs of our grassroots farmers, because the truth be told, the people that are cultivating the food that you and I are consuming, they're not the ones with 20-30 acres of land. It is that 3 plots, 1 acre, 5 acres, 2 acres here, collectively that comes like that in the morning to mile 12, and then it gets divided, or the one that comes like that in the collectively like that to Utako, and then everyone comes to pick. Those are the ones that are feeding the nation. Because the numbers of those ones that are large, that has the scale to do large farming, they are not even 1 to 0.1% of the population of us that are in the agri sector.
Okay, thank you very much. And we understand that Nigeria has actually implemented various sustainable agricultural initiatives. You know, you're talking about the National Agricultural Land Development Authority, and the Agricultural Transformation Agenda. But for some people, these initiatives have not really, brought about the desired, result, as expected. But for you, we understand that you are the national coordinator, Nigerian Women for Agricultural Progressive and Development Initiatives. You must forgive us for not even starting on this note.
Apologies.
Really.
It's okay.
It's really good to see a woman of your age, all right, educated, good looking.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As a farmer.
Right.
That's not the case with our mothers who actually ventured into farming, in the time past. But help us get sense really of what this initiative is all about. And do you depend solely on the federal government to go about your activities, or you have some sort of support system, built within this initiative?
Okay, right. First of all, I need to give kudos to the present administration
Okay.
for admitting that we have food insecurity in the country. Because, it's like when you realize that you have a problem, your problem is half solved. And because we've been saying this for years, but they didn't listen to us, that's the truth. So for admitting that we have a problem, it's a good thing. So everybody now, you see them running kitty kitty, everybody wants to do agriculture. That's a good thing. But I'd also like to appeal to the current administration, which we are under them, to be more intentional in reaching out to the grassroots farmers. You have to be intentional about it. So in Northwest, we are reaching out to 1,000 I keep saying the word grassroots farmers, not portfolio farmers, not political farmers, not what is trending farmers, because we have a lot of what is trending farmers now. It's unbelievable. They have to be intentional now about reaching out to the grassroots farmers, which is of course where we come in. And then to answer your question, yes, we are the national body for women in agriculture, but we don't work just with the federal government.
Okay.
There is no nation that can work independently when it comes to the issue of agriculture. Agriculture, food sustainability is a worldwide issue.
Right.
So we work with a lot of other support system, international bodies, agencies, and products, people that are in the agricultural sector that are like our sponsors and supporters.
Okay. All right. Well, that being said, I'm glad that you mentioned, some of these stakeholders that you work with. But the question will now be, if we have these names of stakeholders who are showing support to the system, how come we're still having a deficit in terms of agriculture and food sufficiency in the country as we speak? 3
reasons. 1, we need to work on our orientation.
Okay.
And when not you as a Nigerian, the farmers themselves.
Okay.
They need a lot of training. They need a lot of, that's the word, sensitization.
Okay.
Stop selling in bags, sell in kgs. It's a win-win thing for everybody. But when you sell in bags, you either are shooting yourself on the food or you're shooting the buyer on the food, and a lot of other issues that needs to be tackled when it comes to our farmers. Another issue why we still have food insecurity in the country, like I said earlier, is the government needs to create a conducive environment. When I harvest my ewedu, for example, let's say in Abaji,
right,
and then for 1 ton of ewedu or ugu from Abaji to Tako Market, I have to pay 150,000 naira on transportation. Of course, by the time you come to the market to buy it, I have to break even if I don't make profit. That's another part of it. So you see, that's why I said that agriculture cuts across our lives.
Okay.
Everything that affects agriculture, as long as it's affecting agriculture, believe me, it's affecting you.
Okay.
That's it. And the third reason why we still have these issues is because there is still a huge gap between the government and the people that are actually producing our food, because of what I mentioned earlier, portfolio farmers, political farmers, and now everything comes with
how would you even define portfolio farmers, and who are the political farmers?
Unfortunately, I won't be able to dig deeply on that.
Right.
Yeah, because of where I'm sitting.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but the definition of a portfolio farmer is someone who claims to be into agriculture, but they actually have no clue of what it is to do, and they're relying on someone else's expertise, but they have access to the fundings, to the input, and what have you. So at the end of the day, it's stories that touches the heart that comes out from all the projects they have been asked to do. And similar thing is what you call a political farmer, someone in the office that is just using their office to say they're in agricultural sector. The worst part of it are these numerous people we have now that wants to do agriculture, but the first thing they're thinking of is how much am I making? But agriculture is one of the industry whereby it is the work you put in that you get out. There is no, before I got into this office, farms, that's the name of my farms. I had to sit in front of camera and do a video that were not money doublers, because I was getting emails and what do you call that thing on social media, DMs of young people telling me, oh, my father just died, I got inheritance of 7 million. If I give you this 7 million, how much will I get at the end of the month? And I'm like, no, this is wrong. It doesn't work like that. You know, you have to put in the work, you have to be patient, you have to wait for harvesting and what have you. But the good news is, if you're able to go through all of this, at the end of the day, it will be worth your time, it will be worth waiting.
Right.
So yes, so these are all the things that the government, this administration, to be honest,
Right.
they are trying, but they haven't even scratched on the surface, because this is an industry that has been abandoned. How old is Nigeria now? You know, for God knows how long. So it is still a whole lot of work that needs to be done, and focus and attention should be on two things: the grassroots women farmers,
Right.
and the youth. Because the truth be told, we need the strength and the zeal of the youth in order for us to keep up. Like you said, the first thing you said, like my age, yes, because the youth, the strength, the zeal is there. So we need the youth to understand that. I tell my youth, because we have a youth wing that is for both male and female. So we're actually women and youth in Agric. And I tell my youth, I said, my youth wing, I said, look, I have been exporting our products, anything that comes out of the soil in Nigeria, as far back as 2008. 2007, or which year did Obama become first president? Yeah, 2008, 2007. And that's why you can see that I'll tell you for free that I and my children can never go to bed hungry. We may not build mansions, I may not buy a private jet today, but I know that I can never be caught stranded, because I understand the wealth that is in agriculture. And that is what we are preaching, especially to the youth. And also, going back to that question of where are we getting support, to be honest, to be candid with you, if we as farmers put our acts together, we're so powerful that all the money and all the support we need, with a little bit of push, either from the government or the international agencies, we may not thrive, but we will survive. That is how powerful agricultural sector is.
We may not thrive, but we will survive. I like that.
Well, it's good to know that. I mean, you are very intentional about the agricultural sector, and
I've been doing this for 2
to be very
decades.
candid with you, one would begin to wonder, some of the risks that you have, encountered, the challenges.
Do you have like
and
5
what
days?
What has actually kept you, this long? I mean, in the sector. Help us get sense.
Yeah, okay. So I say to people, I have gotten my toes, my feet, my fingers, my hands burnt in the agricultural sector.
You've gone through all of that.
Yes, but I've also made some good money.
Okay.
Okay.
Unlike now that there are so many platforms and so many support from the government, when I got into this industry, there was zero support. I remember very well one of the banks, I won't call their names, I took a proposal to start a cashew processing plant, which Julius Berger is now doing, Oyibo company. That one they paid me. I called the man to tell him. And he told me to go and look for something in off-string, down-string, what have you. I don't know nothing about crude oil, other than I drive into the gas station and fuel my car.
Yeah.
And they threw the proposal under the table. They weren't interested. If I'm not mistaken, this is like 2009, 2010. Far back then. So yes, I've had angels investors that we did transactions together, and it went back, and I am paying back from my own money just to keep my name and my reputation. So yes, I faced a lot of challenges. As of the time the gridlock in Apapa started, I had about 20 containers filled with hibiscus that were to leave Nigeria. They stayed on Echo Bridge for over 3 weeks, and this insect started entering the hibiscus that I now had to pay again to go and offload this hibiscus and try to see if I could sell them in the local markets here. You don't want to hear how many millions I lost in that. I'd had to move to Benin Republic to do soya export into India because of our rules, what have you. So yes, when you say you've seen it all, I have seen it all, and I've also done transactions, commodity export, where I sit in my room and I'm getting beautiful alerts in USDs, and I'm smiling going to church to do Thanksgiving. So yes, challenges are there.
Okay.
But the good thing, like I said, is for you that you're hearing my voice today, you're coming in at the right time, because now there's social media. You can go on YouTube, you can go on my page, you can go on NWABD, www.nwabd.com, and you can get support that you need. But when we were in this industry, you can't get all of that. You have to learn from. It was so bad that I started the cooperative, Oyo Multipurpose Cooperative Society, so that we can have support for the farmers.
Right.
We can help ourselves. Now you have banks having agric desk. What? There was no agric desk then. And even when the agric desk came in, some of the banks, when I go in to meet their head of agric desk, I come out feeling cheated because I feel like I've just tutored that guy. In the process of me trying to convince the agric desk guy to give us single digit funding, I come out and I feel like, oh my God, I've just tutored that guy. And of course, you don't hear from them anymore. So you're coming in at the right time. We have more than 10 banks that are giving single-digit loan. You have the Bank of Agric. You have so much support. So yes, we are better than where we were 10 years ago. Right. And there are challenges. But now, if you get your fingers burnt like I did then it is you that is the problem, not because the support and the information is not out there.
All right, not because the support and the information is not out there. And we are still having that conversation with our guest who is in the studio, right? And she's none other person but Farmer Omolara Svensson. Right, Svensson?
Yes,
I got that correctly. All right, kudos to me. All right, but yes, that is what it is. And she has given us some expose into the entire idea, looking at strategies for fostering sustainable agriculture in Nigeria. We'll just go on this quick break. When we do come back, of course, more questions, more information coming your way via the style. Don't go away.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Has anyone told you you can talk about your business on radio for just
20,000 naira?
Get a chance to talk your business for 25 minutes on The Entrepreneur. Mondays to Fridays, 3 p.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. For more inquiries, call 090-9984-4433. 090-9984-4433. Hurry now.
Sorry for the inconvenience. I suppose it was inevitable. Eagles 102.3.
Welcome back from that break. Thank you so much for staying with us. If you're just joining us, this is Agropreneur live on Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja.
Right.
And we still have a farmer Omolara Svensson in the studios, right? She is the national coordinator, Nigerian Women, Women for Agricultural Progressive and Development Initiatives. Who knows? I mean, by the end of the day, I mean, the show rather, I should.
It will be Farmer Udwak and Farmer.
Yes, please. That's the deal.
You really never can tell. But you know, to go to the crux of the matter, let's talk about some very critical questions that actually comes to mind.
Yeah.
I mean, climate change is one topic that's been on the front burner, especially in recent times. And when it comes to agricultural advancement, across the world. Now, how can Nigerian farmers adapt to climate change through sustainable agriculture practices?
Again, our orientation. I'll tell you a short story. Years ago, I went out of my way, did all this, spoke all the big English to convince an insurance company to come up with packages for my farmers. Not as head of association. I said, okay, farm. So finally, I got it, and I brought it to my women and men at its where then. I was like, Usubilai. No, we don't need to give these people money. When we need them, they will not come. But inshallah, rain will fall. Then, no. The other time when there was no rain, we did 3 days prayers and fasting, and we went on the farmland and did night vigil, and then it rained. So our orientation. One of my interviews, I said, look, it's a collective work. The traditional rulers, the religious leaders, because no amount of preaching me I will preach that these people will listen to me. But when their pastor or their imam tells them that insurance is good, the Bible is not against it, the Holy Quran is not against it, they will listen. That traditional ruler. And then the government, the National Orientation Agency, like they're doing all these adverts they do now, let them do that for farmers as well. Why you should not rely on prayers for rain anymore? This is not the days of Moses. This is 2025.
Right.
And God himself had given people the inspiration to be able to read the weather, to be able to predict, maybe not 100% certainty, but something close to it, but far from not being true. You know, so insurance like this, it will save you from a lot of loss. That's the angle I like to start from first of all. When we finish from that angle, when we're able to at least make our women believe in what do they call them, these people, Nimasa, is that other, when they start believing in this, then you can then start training them on why rain is not falling, why we cannot predict the rain again, what science says about all of these things. But it boils down to our orientation and religious, believe me, and it will shock you. It's not only people that not go to school. You see someone with master's degree will say, that the GO has said this is my year of plenty. How can I give 100,000 to insurance? The Lord will not let me down. But news flash, last year God did not let us down. He's just trying to tell us that he's the one that has given us the ability, the people with the technology, the ability to come up with it. So take advantage of it, because in Southwest there was no rain in Ekiti State for like 60 days during rainy season. That was death sentence.
And that was as a result of climate change?
Yes. And then the floodings in the north. So if you have insurance, at least the money where you put inside, if you not profit, you'd at least get your basics back. So this is where I think we need. You see all of these plenty seminars. I'm not saying they're not okay to speak English and all, but they will come, they will listen. Are they convinced? So it is important that we work on our orientation and our ideology as a people. That is where to start from. You know, the alcoholic people, they will say, admit you're an alcoholic first, otherwise we can't treat you. Something like that. Believe that there is climate change, that things have changed, and that it is not just prayers. I'm not saying prayers don't work. I'm a prayerful person, I believe. I'm a spiritual person and all of that. But the same God said that prayers without faith is dead. Right. So you have to balance things up. We have to change our orientation, and it's a collective work. Traditional religious leaders.
Okay. I was going to come from that place, because I saw the way you stressed on the religious leaders.
It's the experience on the field that is talking, not Omolara. Please, disclaimer.
Anyways, though, but yeah, I want us to hamper on another angle, and that would be in terms of agricultural policies. I mean, over time, we have seen and heard the federal government here and there. Okay, policies have been put in place. We're going to be having soft loans where there is this particular loan. Fertilizers are here and there. We're trying to support that industry, that sector, and all of that. How has it been, in terms of your experience in the field?
Generally, Nigeria has one of the best policies on paper.
Okay.
No implementation. When it comes, let's bring it down a bit. Generally, I said, in agri sector, we have one of the best policies. I think the other administration, Vice President Oshibajo, in terms of carbon market and what have you, they passed some policies which, when you read it, I was smiling through. I think I read it on the fly. I was smiling all through. We still they wait for implementation, and it's like that. So that is it's not about making policies; it's about policy implement. It's like you say when we talk about this policy thing. It's like you say, I'm going to start going to the gym, and then you bought all the gym wear, and you subscribe for gym. Time to go to gym, they sleep. That's it. Then when it now comes to women, policies that works for women and youth. Sometimes I say that I wish I have the zeal to go into politics, because we do not have the right policies for women in agric. Do you know that in Nigeria of today, and it's not only in the north, even in some parts of the south, if you have farmland, if you're married and you have a farmland that you got from your father as a woman, and your husband dies, and this is a farmland that you live on, you feed your children on, the family of your husband has the right to chase you off that land. let it sink for a minute. It's not, let's even say it's your husband's land. It is the land that you yourself inherited from your father. Is that bad? And then those sort of women comes to my own GM. Now their children are out of school now, they can't feed themselves now. And again, I repeat, it's predominant in the north, but it is also happening in the south. These policies, to a large extent, they are there. Who is implementing it? So because they're not implemented, I can't sit here and say Nigeria has good policies for women and youth in agric. I'll say no. We don't have. Because how many people we sit down and read 45, 47 pages of policies that was passed into law 9, 10, 20 years ago?
Yeah, let me come there. Passed into law, it means it is within the purview of law. It means that should these policies not find their way into mainstream, you could be able to contest.
Where is the
these
implementation team, the extension workers?
issues. Okay.
That will implement that law to a woman who probably did not finish secondary school, but she needs to know that this is what her rights are and what her rights are not. I joke a lot around. I say Nigeria owes me a lot because I just don't do agric training. I then have to tell you, are you a woman? You can. Do you know earlier last year when we launched this campaign that go and register your company, because we find out that most of our women will say, oh, they want to, you are qualified, I know what to do. Say, but where is your bank account? No, now my husband and younger brother, they always pay the money into. So, well, go register your, I figure company. So what do you mean? Are you not a human being? Are you not breathing? Are you not somebody's daughter before you became somebody's wife? So where is the implementation team? So you see, when I said that our orientation, National Orientation Agency has so much to do. Because if you don't know what you carry, you don't understand your value, you cannot exercise your rights. Right. If you don't know that you are a prince, you will walk like a son of a slave. It's very simple. A lot of our women and youths don't even know their rights, and it's a pandemic. The ones on the social media that feels that they know their rights, they are on a roller coaster, bubbles. The reality, they don't even know. How many of them had read a page in the Constitution of Nigeria to actually know where you stand as a person, other than what their celebrity crushes post on social media? These are the things. So I keep saying it, our orientation, our ideology. If you call a 10-year-old or secondary school student in other countries, they know their basic rights, and not because a celebrity posted it online, because they know it, because they've read about it. You know, how many of our youths takes out time to even read a letter? I mean, it's so bad that some offices, you send letter to them, summary of what we intend to do with you. They will still ask you to come and tell them what you intend to do. And I go, Oga, I am sorry. Everything I need to come and tell you, it's in black and white.
Yeah.
Read it. You see, so this is the issue. We have the policies. Who is implementing all of these policies?
So policy implementation is on the
That's
one
it.
side, and then another place would be the place of awareness. How much of awareness is being put
Policy
out there?
implementation cannot happen without awareness and sensitization.
Right, that's
That's
going
it.
to come there.
So when you are implementing policy side by side
There should be
in
a
the same line, unknowingly to you, actually, you are doing sensitization and creating awareness.
Okay. Well, we understand. I mean, late last year, we're still feeling the brunt, as a matter of fact. Talking about onions, I mean, it's become so expensive. And that's not the first time that this is happening, but onion farmers have come out to tell us that the reason why a bag of onions actually cost as high as 250,000 naira as of December last year, they attributed that to flooding. But is that really the case, or there is more to it? And we also hear of middlemen. They are sometimes the reason why there's been an aggressive spike or hike in the prices of farm produce. Let us in on what is obtainable within that space.
Okay, sorry that I'll ask a question from your question. From your understanding, most of the onions we consume, where do they come from?
It's believed that it's come from the north.
Okay, so why can't the south also be producing half of the number of onions that the north produces?
The lands that we have in the south, are they fertile enough for onions to thrive?
I mean, but in 2025, there is nothing you cannot cultivate anywhere in Nigeria with the technology and that we have now. I cultivated onions and carrots on my farm in Fashola. You know where Fashola is? It's in Oyo State, Okyogu.
But then didn't it have cost implications to it?
No, the seed is the seed.
Okay.
Okay.
Your land preparation and your timing. That's it. Agriculture has gone. See, as a people, we need to get up as we need to get up and stop all of these excuses.
So can
Tomatoes,
we also plant rice in the south?
Excuse you? We plant rice in Oyo State, in Ekiti, in Lagos. So I'm a very frank person. This is not 1980 and 1978. When we are ready, all of us will put hands on deck. Stop blaming any government. If the south is, for example, producing 1 million metric tons of onions for us in the north, let the south try and do 200 metric tons. It will reduce the pressure on the north. As I speak with you, my farm in Fashola, we are doing bedding now for tomatoes. Irrigation farming. We don't do secular farming. We don't do seasonal farming. We do secular farming. And let us stop the excuses. Produce the one your family will eat. It will reduce the pressure in the market. This is the gospel truth. Middlemen will always be middlemen. They see an opportunity for business, they go for it. We're not all the same. That is their own understanding of what life is all about. So instead of you sitting down and say, it is expensive because you can grow onions in your bucket, in a paint bucket, and it doesn't cost you much. Dedicate 10 minutes every day to it. Tutorial is on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I don't understand our problem.
No, when for a commercial farmer, you won't have to depend on tutorials on
YouTube. I'm talking about contribution from individual.
Right. Okay.
In my house in Ibadan, I don't buy okra, I don't buy wedu, I don't buy bitter leaf, I don't buy saint leaf, I don't buy tomato, I don't buy cucumber. My cucumber is lying on my fence with tree that I use rope to hang it. So if they like, let them sell cucumber for 1,000 naira. It is where God will help Nigeria. I go outside, I pluck the one me and my children will eat. That is on an individual level. And don't come to me and say you live in a flat. Get small flower pots. Grow your rodo that you used to fry your, what is it called? Netherlands, the whole of Netherlands, I'm not sure it's as big as Oyo State. But Netherlands are one of the biggest exporters of vegetables in the world. So what are we talking about? And now to you that is a farmer in the south, look at, I tell my, now not as national coordinator, as OK Farms, I tell my partners and investors that I do strategic farming. This tomato now is targeted towards Ilea. All of us know that time that tomato will be expensive.
Right?
What is wrong with us as a people?
So you're saying that we don't have an excuse?
We don't have. I'm tired of hearing excuses from us in terms of food being expensive. That is the truth. I'm just sick and tired of it. If food is expensive, stop sitting and waiting around. Now you can cultivate yam in sack. Carry 100 sack, put in your compound. You know that the yam that at least your family will consume in another couple of months, you have it in your homes. So that is one aspect of it. The other aspect of it again, because at the end of the day, the government, after God, is the government. So the government is responsible for all of our well-being. Right. So in that light, the government needs to be intentional. They need to be intentional. Again, because I don't want to sound like, oh, the government is not doing nothing. This government had started on the right path.
Okay.
And I can tell you for free that if we had this 10 years ago, we would not be here today. I'm not a politician, I'm a farmer, but as a Nigerian, I owe it to say it as it is. Okay. So the government just needs to be more intentional about reaching out to the grassroots farmers, the real farmers, the people that are in the entire value chain. We have no reason not being the food basket of the world. That is the truth. The land that flows with milk and honey.
Of the world or the continent?
Of the world. The land that flows with milk and honey, believe me, it's Nigeria. Have you not seen some houses that they use concrete on it and it cracks in the middle and then you see...
Still sprouts out.
Are you joking? There is a woman that grinds pepper and she just takes the water of the pepper and throws in front of her house. Before you know, you see tomato, you see pepper growing on their own in dry season.
Okay, but there is something called soil prep or soil preparation. Let us get a sense of that as well.
It depends on what you want to plant and where you are. In short, Nigeria is so blessed that the south part of Nigeria, the soil holds water during dry season. So they don't need as much irrigation as someone from the north or southwest or southeast, even some part of southeast, Anambra, riverine area. Their soil also holds water during the dry. Waiting, I want me God do for Nigeria, they go Naviji. I don't understand.
Right. Well, let's look into the adoption of sustainable agricultural practices in Nigeria. What are the implications that hold should we adopt, sustainable agricultural practices in the country, as it were? What implications are there? What for our, should we adopt sustainable strategies, in this processes of agriculture?
That's the only way we can move forward.
Right. And what do you think Nigerians' expectations will be?
That's the only way that
right.
we can feed ourselves. Do you know, for people like myself that liaises with foreigners, on a low key, I'm ashamed.
Why?
To say that we have food insecurity in Nigeria. Netherlands does not have food shortage.
No, but the food shortage we have can be attributed to insecurity.
A number of factors.
Whatever it is you want to attribute it to, and let's stop using insecurity as an excuse. Before insecurity came, far back as of days of Obasanjo, we were importing corn. See, that's my problem with us. We always like to put something, look for excuse instead of us to face reality. Before insecurity came, we were importing corn. You may not know that, I know that.
Right.
As a nation. And then I look at the natural resources that we have. And then we are still saying we have, even with the insecurity, how do you respect people that cannot secure themselves from themselves? Because I say to people, I say, you see that Boko Haram or that herdsman that you're talking about is in Nigeria. At the end of the day, when we throw all of these things down, he's a Nigerian. So at the end of the day, now we fail at taking care of our businesses. That's what I meant by on a low key, I feel ashamed. So it is for everybody's benefit,
right,
for us to have agricultural sustainability or food sustainability, whichever way you want to put it. But it is a collective effort.
Yeah.
And I keep hammering on these three people that are involved, or four, well, three, because national orientation is under the government. But before you even get to the government, you see the traditional rulers and religious rulers. I have seen a situation whereby governments gave us support to go to so places, go and train them, go and do this. All the training where we talk, now the one where their pastor talk or imam, they believe. So this is a when we are really, really ready. These are conversations that will be had in church, that will be had in mosque, that will be had in among traditional worshippers, that traditional rulers will talk about. And that's why you see when we go visiting, we do courtesy visit to traditional rulers, to churches and all. Because at the end of it all, our people, we as a people, we listen and believe more what our traditional and religious leaders, especially religious leaders, tells us than we listen to our government. So even when government has everything put in place for us, like the issue of insurance, like the issue of climate change. Again, I was much younger than this period. I remember when Baba Obasanjo regime came with NPK, a certain fertilizer. They practically had to beg some of our farmers to use it. They came up with some sort of conspiracy theory. We had to go. Let them use it. Pastor, please help us tell them to use it before we not. So you see, deep go.
Alrighty. Well, the conversation is still trending, and then and all of that. But there are women out there, youths out there, who have called this platform on numerous occasions, asking questions about how do we go into farming. We don't even know where to go. We don't know where to turn. We don't know how to start. Would you want to throw in something out there?
So I'll tell it just for a minute or two how we came about. So we are women from the All Farmers Association of Nigeria. We broke out from them.
Why did you break
January 2024. We are going to be a year next month.
Okay.
Our AGM is coming up on the 13th of February because of lack of inclusion, to start with.
Within the body?
Within the body, and because the leadership of the body is still in court as I speak. For the past 5 years. And we cannot just sit around and continue. And then I said to myself, hang on a sec. kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀? Why don't we have a national body for women and youth in agric? When lawyers, journalists, they have national bodies, and here we are today. So this is not a new organization. You know, I was Afan woman leader Oyo State. So we came from All Farmers Association of Nigeria. So with that being said, you want to know about farming, you want to join farming. Our youth wing is for male and female, but not above 40 years though.
Okay.
And the women wing is there. And you can always get all your, can I get all your information on our website, which is www.nwapd.com. NWAPD is NWAPDI. When you go on our website, you see all our activities coming up, the AGM, how you can be a part of it, the AGM you don't want to miss, truly, if you want to go into agric and what have you, and export. So yes, I know, like I said it earlier, when I started, this was even before I had my sons, and you know, there was no help from anybody. There wasn't. There was no information on social media. There was no agric desk in the bank. There are some of my friends today that I owe them a lot to them because they believed in me. Even though some of them, our money lost, but you know, they knew that it was what I call Nigerian factor. They believed in me, you know, they supported me. And my mom of blessed memory, she used to ask me, out of all the money that I lost in school, what is it with this agric thing, you know? So, and there was a period that we were exporting charcoal and growing back the tree. By the way, you don't cut down the trees for charcoal, so I make that clear. And my mother was so heartbroken that her daughter is selling charcoal. You know how it is now. Ah, God, and you know, she was lamenting until about a year after, and I took her somewhere. I said, "This is for you." She said, "Alhamdulillah." I said, it's charcoal's money.
The conversation continues,
Right.
really. Please do what to check out, you know, this conversation on Facebook and YouTube, because
That's
we are
right.
streaming it at the moment. If you have questions, please drop your questions, and we'd also encourage you, Farmer Molara, to also visit our social media, you know, platforms. So if there are questions, you can, you know, react or even respond to these questions. Our time is actually fast spent. I
That's
really
right.
wish that we can go on and on with this conversation.
Honestly.
I think we save, you know, my thought for subsequent.
Go on our website and become a member for free. Both of you. I want to see you start your balcony farming.
now,
okay?
this is serious.
I'm challenging you on that.
Balcony.
That's the
Yeah,
thing.
well, do it. Where do you have? What do you have?
Okay, well, I could use a basket just like you said.
Yes,
Or a bucket.
or a bucket.
A bucket,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Start with something, no matter how little.
What's the website again?
www.nwapdi.com.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
DI. Okay. All right. This is where we are calling a close. Although I like your presence, I like to
Thank
see
you.
this
It was
farmer
nice being here.
that is here, who's doing big things, and also giving that sensitization and awareness in a very own way to the public. And I'm trusting that after this conversation, this discourse, each and every one of you, especially you listening right there and watching across social media platform, you will come to understand that, look, we don't have a problem when it comes to feeding. That's the truth. We don't have a problem, and she just made it very clear, and that you can start something where you are at, right? Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And that would be, you are the national, is it coordinator now?
Yes.
National coordinator
Okay.
of Nigerian Women for Agricultural Progressive and Development Initiatives.
And she is Farmer Omolara Svensson. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Great.
having me.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Right.
guys.
Well, what can we say? The General Open Banter, the breakfast show has come to a close on this note. But